Tonight's episode of Fireside is brought to you by Legends of Belize. Visit legendsofbelize.com to learn more.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to Fireside Paranormal Podcast. My name is Jordan Cline, and I have a fun show for you tonight. My guests are Dismas and GrissyG Lazarraga. They are with Legends of Belize, and they're also the show sponsor. Before we get to them, we do have some announcements. Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening. You can follow any topic as specific as you'd like, from sports, science, to Bitcoin, or even the Kardashians. It'll find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud. They also have podcasts, so explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. My show, Fireside Paranormal Podcast, is there too. Download and use Newsly for free now from www.newsly.me or from the link in the description, and use promo code FIRESIDE where the eyes are ones. I'll also put that in the description, and you receive 1 month free premium subscriptions.
Are you into the paranormal, true ghost stories, Bigfoot and alien encounters, or high strangeness and conspiracies? Well, if so, then you should check out my podcast called Somewhere in Dreamland. My name is Ken Mark, and every week I interview authors, researchers, and experiencers alike in the fields of the paranormal, cryptozoology, ufology, and spirituality. So why not take a dive down that rabbit hole with me and search for Somewhere in Dreamland wherever you listen to podcasts. That's Somewhere in Dreamland.
Patreon is also something that we have now. There are several tiers for you to choose from. The $1 tier gets you a name drop, Discord, and 1 bonus audio. $3 tier, Discord, name drop, 1-inch sticker, and 2 bonus audio. The $5 tier, Discord, name drop, 3-inch sticker, and all bonus audio. The bonus audio that I'm talking about is kind of like an after the interview conversation with the guest, as well as anything else I decide to record through the month. And there's also our $20 tier. This is Join Me by the Fire. You get the Discord, a 3-inch sticker, a name drop, and you get all bonus audio. But the big thing with this is we do a giveaway, like a drawing, at the end of the month. And that winner actually gets to be on the show with me. I do want to thank you all for the support, all the patrons that have signed up so far. I am trying to enhance the quality of the show. I need to upgrade some of the equipment. So your support of the show this way really does help keep things going. I really do appreciate and love you. A no-cost option to support the show would be a rating and a review. So if you would give a 5-star rating and a good review, that helps out with the algorithms and things like that. It really does support Fireside.
Legends of Belize is a series about mythical creatures that dwell in the jungles and waters of Belize. The Belizean legends are captured, documented, and preserved like never before in a comprehensive art series and books with fully colored and detailed images of fine art by artists, authors, and award-winning animators Dismas and GrissyG. Discover the supernatural creatures that await deep in the jungles, such as the mysterious dwarf called Tata Duende with backwards feet known to rip the thumbs off of trespassers, or the beautiful shape-shifting woman known to locals as the Ishtabai, who seduces drunks to never be seen again. These creatures and many more can be found in the Legends of Belize books. Learn about the cryptozoological, paranormal, and unexplained creatures that haunt Belize. Be fascinated, be terrified. Belize. Legend of Belize books are available in print and ebook. Buy your copy from your favorite online bookstore such as Amazon, KDP, Apple Books, and many more. Also be sure to visit legendsofbelize.com.
If you would like to be one of our show sponsors, reach out to firesideparanormalpodcast@gmail.com. I do have an event coming up July 23rd and 24th. It is the Wonders Oddities Expo. It will be at the West Virginia State Penitentiary in Moundsville, West Virginia. I'm going to have a table set up. I love these conventions. I'm going to have my recording stuff there. We're going to talk with all of you. I enjoy meeting you all face to face, having some good conversations, meeting some teams. And of course, I love it when you share your personal stories. That's where we get a lot of our featured stories from at these events. The event will be from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you're in the area, if you can make it there, it is always a blast. They put on a great show, so I hope to see you there. This week's featured story comes in from Nathan.
All right. My name is Dr. Nathan Forbes. I am from Everson, Pennsylvania. I am the founder of the Indiana University of Pennsylvania Paranormal Society.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And also affiliated with the Westmoreland Paranormal Society for a while there. I haven't done a whole lot in a good bit, but we still like to do some personal investigations every once in a while. But I think the wildest things that happened recently, the last couple of years, is it wasn't even an investigation. So we're right now at a festival, right? My wife is a crafter at a festival, and she loves to do that kind of stuff. And she did an event near Gettysburg. So after I set her up, I took my 3-year-old, and we went over to Gettysburg and did some hiking, and a good time like that. Well, while walking through the triangular field, pushing my stroller, my son, he's 3 again, likes the cocoa melon and likes the all that kind of stuff. Saying it's all over my television, right? And he's singing away, doing his thing, and he pulls back from the stroller, starts to scream, "Scary, scary!" I'm like, that's weird, right? Like, that's a strange one. So didn't think much of it. Kept pushing. He says, "Hey, buddy, what's scary? What's scary?" And he didn't say anything. And then he reached down from the stroller and grabbed a stick, like a nice, about a 2.5 foot long stick, 3 foot stick. And then he points it forward and starts shouting, "Forward, forward!" And I'm like, "Where the heck did this come from? That's weird." Like, "Yeah, forward. All right, buddy, sure, forward." They start pointing, "Go backwards, backwards." I'm like, "Okay." And then he started pointing towards like Devil's Den and shouting, "Up, up, rally, rally, up, up, move, move, move." And I'm like, I got a little kind of tingly, you know what I mean? I'm like, this kid is like, he's obsessed with cocoa melon and like that kind of stuff. I don't think he's ever heard the word rally before in his life in that context. So I started jogging pretty quickly, to get out of there. And now even like to this day, when we're like in the woody area, he'll start to scream forward and rally and things like that. It's a really wild situation. So
They say kids see things.
They do. They say, that's not the first time he's done something like that. He's been we were one time hiking through a graveyard and just walking as part of a hike, and then he started shouting, "Scary, scary, go away." So I'm like, "Oh, cool. Like, that's like, thanks, buddy." Like, you just
That's the one thing I really want to hear.
Now Dad has nightmares, But yeah, no, we've had a lot of cool stuff at Gettysburg over the years, and that was just one of them. That's it's fun. It wasn't even part of an investigation; just had something neat happen.
Thank you so much, Nathan. And if you want your story to be one of our featured stories, make sure you email me at firesideparanormalpodcast@gmail.com. Also, if you're a paranormal investigation team, send me an email as well. I'm going to start adding more and more group highlights to the show as more come in. So make sure you get that email to me. All right, I want to get to my guests. Join me by the fire as we welcome Dismas and GrissyG Lazarraga. They are artists, animators, and they are presenting Legends of Belize. They're also our show sponsors, so give it up for them. Are you guys here?
We're here.
Hi, Dismas and GrissyG.
Welcome.
Thank you for having us, and we're ready to share some stories and stuff about Belizean mythology.
I'm really excited for this. I remember I had you guys on, man, what's it been, Dismas, like 10 years? More than that? With Whispers.
Yes. Whispers Radio, yeah, about 10 years or so, maybe.
Yeah, and I always fascinating, these stories. There's so much history in Belize.
Yes, we have a very deep culture into the Mayan civilization there, and we have a lot of different cultures that have gone there and migrated from all over the world. So it's a big melting pot of different cultures and people and
ideas, and
these mythologies are the same, it's really a mixture of the culture too.
Now, what are some of your favorite legends?
That's a good question. There's a lot of them are actually favorites, like the Sisamita, for the reason where it's like kind of like the Bigfoot, and a lot of people, I guess like us, we're fascinated by the cryptozoological, so Bigfoot is right there on the list. And the Sisamita is the Belizean version of the Bigfoot. And there's the Tataduende, and that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us Belizeans grew up hearing stories from our grandparents about the Tataduende. And that's a very popular one. We all grew up, us the little gnome that, lives in the forest that'll take you away or break your thumbs if you know.
Don't behave. That was the scare tactic the parents would use to keep the kids in line.
So if you went out, he would break your thumbs?
Yeah, well, the story behind that one is that the Tata Duende doesn't have thumbs, and according to the myth is that if he sees that you have thumbs, you should hide them so he doesn't see it. But if he sees it, he gets angry and he'll grab your thumbs and break them off. During our research, we spoke to a Mayan priestess that explained to us this other idea of why he breaks off your thumbs, and it's more like he has little hands, and if you offer your hand to shake his hand or something to that effect, he grabs your hand because his hands are so small, it goes around your hand, and he will squeeze your thumbs until they break because they're very strong.
Oh,
so
gosh.
That's one explanation of why they'll break your thumbs. But throughout the mythology of it, the folklore with kids, and he'll break your thumbs, or he'll rip your thumbs off, or he changes, or we don't really know, but that's the idea behind that.
All right,
well,
so
she explained that they're small beings, so she calls them little brothers. They're like her little brothers, and that they take care of the nature and us. And out of respect, you're not going to push your hand, which is as big as them, into their face. She explained it. You have to offer it. But she said, out of respect, you would offer your thumb. So that was the first time I heard that opposite to it, because they can hold your thumb, they're small, so they can hold your thumb, opposed to a big hand. Like, they can't shake your big hand,
So
that was another explanation of that.
Just a little background now. You both are from Belize, correct?
Right.
What part?
We were both born in Corozal Town, which is the North District, and we grew up there when we were young, and Dismas came out when he was 1 to the U.S., and I grew up there until I was 18. I came out for college. So.
I did go back for 4 years within, my teenage time, and I lived there for 4 years, and then came back out here again. And so my mom's from Belize, and my dad's from Belize too, and so the culture, I guess, is the food,
the culture goes with us.
Yeah.
Now, when you were teenagers and you were sneaking out at night, were you hiding your thumbs, just in case?
Yeah. There's so many different characters and superstitions. It's a fun place to live.
Now, there is a lot of superstition in Belize as well. You said what kinds of things go on?
Let me see. Well, there's
don't go out after midnight because you can be taken away by one of these evil spirits. There's several different ones they tell us about. They were telling us about if you're drunk, don't be caught out in dark nights. That there's a character called the Cadejo, which is better than you explain it.
A spirit that has chains, and it walks a big dog, but the dog, and they say that the dog has big nails that it almost sounds like hoops, and then they clack at night.
Oh, wow.
So if you're drunk at night and you start hearing the chains and clacking, better run and hide because this Cadejo will take your spirit away or something to that.
Oh, goodness.
Very creepy stuff that I remember, now that I'm older. And what's weird is that when we were younger, they would tell us fairy tales, and you kind of we would take it fairies, don't really believe in it, but you're kids, so you kind of do. Then you get older, teenager, no, I don't believe in it. And now that we're much older, I don't know what to say. It's, it's like coming back to maybe I do believe in these things, or, it's funny. It's come full circle that way.
Yeah.
You believe it enough to hide your thumbs, and if you're out drunk, you're hiding and running from anything making noise.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so tell me some more of these stories.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you something that really happened to us. A couple years ago, we got a call from a television company to do a documentary about the Tata Duende.
Oh, okay. What's
And
that?
that's the what's this? It's called Boogeyman series,
Okay.
and it's from Shiver. I don't remember the details off the top of my head, but we basically went down to Belize to do the documentary about the Tata Duende, to interview people that have had encounters and
Or know about the character and the history. We talked to educators. We talked to the students. We did a presentation there, and just different ways he's included in the culture.
Yes. So, and with that, we got to meet the Mayan priestess, Miss Maria Garcia. And before we approached this, this documentary, we were advised by a lot of people that have encountered the duende that you can't just go out like looking for these entities, that you got to protect yourself. And I know in the paranormal community, there's a lot of that where you shield yourself, or you do. Are you aware of anything like that?
Yeah.
And so we'll say we're very skeptical, but because we grew up in the culture of it, we're aware of these things as well. So we got like a...
And out of respect, too, because the Mayans are very cultural, very spiritual, but they also have a very good intuition with Mother Nature, with Earth,
Okay.
So we do respect them, and we feel like they have a knowledge about that we don't, So she was very cool with us, and...
Yeah, so then she performed a ritual over us to protect us. It's called smudging, where it takes away that negative energy or vibes, or that thing, whatever they call it, to take it away from you, so that you can
and like a blessing, I think.
Yeah, to protect us, so that we don't disturb this entity or the spirit or the nature spirit. And okay, to get to the point is that when she started doing this smudging, the day was like very sunny and humid and warm, and all of a sudden the air started to feel like staticky, and the wind started blowing.
And it started to rain.
And
the minute she started...
It started drizzling.
Oh,
and then
gosh.
And then there was a horse that was tied up behind, that was part of the documentary, where we, explained where it has, the duende supposedly braids the hair for the horse as well.
Okay.
So the horse was tied to the tree because it's like the ritual needed an animal that the duende had, I guess, had
it's a friend, like it's a link to him, because the duende obviously touched the horse. So it's like for her also to make an offering to like say that she's cool, that she's
okay with the duende, and apparently they protect the land and their animals as well. So
crops and...
So things got weird like that, where it just started drizzling and the horse started reacting.
It literally started going around the tree like a merry-go-round, which was weird, because the minute she started and it started to rain and the wind is going and the horse is going around the tree, it was like, what?
And this is all documented in the video as well.
Okay.
So you could see the smoke when she's burning the incense. You could see the smoke the wind start blowing it, and the situation just got weird. And
And when you were there, you felt the energy, which is like something you can't really explain with the paranormal. It's when you're there, there's an intense energy you're feeling that's unbelievable.
So you guys were like in the scene of a horror movie.
Yeah, but then the thing is, that's so weird. Like the light switch, when she was done with the ritual, it just stopped drizzling.
The sun came
Everything
out.
got calm.
Horse started eating like nothing happened.
And she said that this is a normal thing, because this shows that the nature spirit is content.
Yes, she said.
So it shows like that, the wind shows its powers, And then she said that after this, you'll start to see
He's happy.
more animals and strange animals if the spirit is happy,
Mm-hmm.
and snakes, more snakes, but we're in Belize and it's partial jungle, and I normally see animals, so that's like the thing that goes in my head. And even though this weird static and rain happened like with like a light switch on and off, I'm still skeptical in the back of my head because.
Yeah.
So, so as we leave the compound, we pass right under the tree. A whole bunch of little parrots just fly out of the tree, just, and I'm like, wow, okay, Belize, there's parrots, And as we're turning out, I see like a little red tiger, a little ocelot, a little cat, a baby one.
It's a rare creature.
Especially to see a baby one.
No, I don't even know anyone that's seen it.
Right on the side of the road, So, okay. And we're going to our next destination to go interview another person about different things. And right in front of us, it's like a tiny one street road, not even like full road, but just like a little cutout road. A big snake comes right in front of the truck and stands up, a big boa-looking snake. I have video of that snake too.
And she said, that was what was crazy, because she said you'll see snakes.
You start to see animals. She said that the duende prefers animals with the white fur.
Yes, and the horse that was with us was a white horse.
Oh.
Yeah.
And but just to offer a detail about that, the horse was there because it had a braid, and apparently the duende rode that horse in the night. And when they ride these horses, they make little braids in the hair, and it's like a tightly woven little rope, I would say.
It looks like a little syrup, like kind of.
Yeah, I guess that's where they would put their foot, or they would hold on.
Okay.
Not quite sure, but that was on the horse. It was like
in the hair by his mane.
And that's the Mayan priestess explained to us that
they sit there.
The next morning, the horse did not have that braid, and the next morning it had the braid. But at night, she would hear the horse run around in the field, and then they would tell them, just leave the horse because the duende is doing his thing, or So
the elders of the family would say that the duendes are helping. They're taking care of the animals. So don't disturb them. Don't go out.
Yeah.
So is this a scary, I guess, character? Is this a fun, peace-loving character? So
there's Casa Duende is a spirit that they say is based on how you treat the nature, or like it's based on how you are as a person.
Okay.
If you're a bad person, if you're disrespecting, if you're just going into the jungle and killing animals for no reason, you're likely to be his target,
Yeah, he'll be a malevolent being in that way. And if you're a good person, there's also stories. A popular one is in Belize where they had a hurricane. I'm not quite sure what Hurricane Jeanette or something. An old story. My grandmother told us this story, that when they had the hurricane, it blew away some of the kids, and they couldn't find 2 kids, I think.
2 little girls were found under a tree.
After the hurricane passed, they found them under the tree, and they were well taken care of, and they were wearing clothes made of leaves. And they asked them, how did you guys survive this? And the kids swear and said it, that the little man took care of us the whole time.
Food and
fruits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's a story where they say he's a good being,
Oh, wow.
But they would always warn us too as kids, don't follow the little man if the little man calls you. Or
yes, they would take kids. They would say that the little men would steal kids. They wouldn't bring you back, and they would take you and teach you things and different.
Yeah, and the more we learn about it too, we find out that apparently it might not be like one being. It's not one person or a being, or that there's many. And through our research, we found that these creatures or beings or entities date all the way back to ancient Egypt.
Wow.
There's one on the Maya, one of the pyramids. There's a sculpture of an dwarf called Beth, and he's known to protect women during childbirth and to protect children as well. So this is like way into ancient Egypt, and then we have our story here in Belize, that sometimes protects kids, and so.
I have to say that's one of the interesting parts of the whole series, that we found other cultures all around the world have similar characters, like Bigfoot is like the Sisamite, yes, and the Yeti, they're so similar, just different parts, like humans, just different cultures all over,
Now, are there any differences? I know you talked about the little man in the trees. What about like the Bigfoot character? Are there any differences between like what we have here in the U.S. and what's popularly known here to what you have in Belize?
Yes. Well, similar wise, they're both considered cryptids. They live like deep in the jungles or forests. But the Belizean Sisamite or Sisamito, or the Mayans would say Sisamit, they're known to have backwards feet.
Really?
Their feet are backwards. Yes. And at first, while we were doing our research for the series, people would tell us that no, it's only the Tataduan that has backwards feet.
Yeah.
But the more we started interviewing people, they would tell us that no, the Sisamite has backwards feet as well.
And they're bigger. And the duende is small,
Yeah, so what we found is people do say, no, they are the same. And because the duende is considered a spirit as well, they say he shapeshifts too. So they'll say, oh, he shapeshifts into that, or vice versa. But from what we are learning is that this Sisamito is more like, I would consider it more like a skunk ape, in Florida kind of skunk ape.
Okay.
Where, because they live in swampy area, that they say that the smell is very musky as well. And, I would say like kind of like an orangutan, that's very similar to that.
Okay.
Yes, but the backwards feet is one of the, I guess, the strange things. But I want to say, as an artist, when I look at different pictures of orangutans, sometimes their feet look like it's backwards because of the way they stand, So I don't know if it's just like maybe a visual interpretation where people see that, or it just went along with the story, the mythology of it.
So it could be just a giant one that's out there.
Could be. Yeah.
Well, they didn't find the gorillas. That was a mythology until I think it was the early 1900s.
Uh-huh.
That they actually found them, So we don't know. They're still finding new species every so often.
Oh yeah, the kangaroo was a cryptid for a long time.
Yes.
The okapi as well.
Yeah. Right? The giant squid. There's so much.
Now, there seems to be like a running thing with the cryptids of Belize, that they're all pretty crazy looking, right?
Yes, creepy.
Very creepy looking, with backwards feet and.
Yeah, that's a lot more to it. With I guess you'd say the fascination of that scary part. So when we put the series together, we did choose like the creepy stuff, and the more popular ones, because as we're going along, there's all kinds of derivatives from these myths.
We found way more characters now since we started the series.
Like what?
And, I'll tell you. Well, the Hashishipampi ones, they're not creepy, but they're like little kids. They're kind of like pixies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would compare them more to like the Menuhin from Hawaii. They have like folklore about these little like
nature spirits.
Okay. In Belize, we call little kids picnic. Like, picnic, koya! Like I'm calling a kid. Picnic, koya! Clean your room, picnic. So we use that word picnic, but it's like little picnics, like little kids that's in the jungle. And apparently they're more mischievous.
Yes.
And
Actually, my grandma would tell me a story about this one.
Yeah, go ahead.
She said my grandpa was a chiclero, and he would go in the jungle for
What's
days.
a chiclero?
A chiclero are people who collect gum from trees
Okay.
To make chicle or
to
gum?
make chicle, to make bubble gum.
Okay.
And in those days, they would go deep into the forest to find these trees, and they would have to camp out for night. And she said my grandpa would tell her that she has to sleep with her shoes in the hammock because they would sleep in hammocks. And she thought he was crazy, like, how are you going to sleep with your shoes in the hammock? And she said he told her, no, it's because the little hashishis, the hashishi pampis come out at night. And if you have your shoes there, they'll put coal in your shoes, hot coal, or they'll take your shoes and throw it in the fire, or just cause whatever havoc they can cause with stuff that's left in their space.
Like
Oh, wow.
Just mischievous. And she said that she didn't believe him, but at night she heard a whole ruckus, and when she woke up, she saw these little things jumping in the fire, and she got scared. She said she just covered her head, but she saw something. So.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, there's those stories, and a lot of people claim that yes, they do exist.
And actually, when we were on one of the talk shows in Belize, we were talking about the hashishi pampi, and a lady called in saying that she really believes in it, and she saw these little creatures playing in, like, that. She said there was like a house that burnt down next door, like months ago, and there's ash and the leftover remains of it, and the little kids, she says, they're not monkeys. She clearly said, they're not monkeys. They're little kids, like little tiny little kids, and they were playing in the ashes and rubbing it all over themselves.
Yeah.
So she said she really believes in it. So we've had a lot of people tell us this stuff, and we want to say, make it clear, we're like the messengers of it. Because some people get upset at us because we talk about it or we ask about it, but we're just here to document and preserve it and share it. But it's fun.
Why would people be upset about it?
Because some people really.
The cultural superstition part of it is that whenever you speak of these things, you invite them into your space.
Oh.
So like there's this thing they would say that you don't say the names of the characters. Like don't repeat. I'm sure you've heard where you should never say the name of a bad spirit so many times.
Yeah.
Like Bloody Mary, you say it so many times you conjure it.
You know what? The Beetlejuice idea.
Beetlejuice.
Right?
Yeah, like Beetlejuice.
Yes. So a lot of people believe you should not speak of them. You should not invite them anyway.
So there is, that I want to say like embedded in the culture, and not only Belize culture, but cultures all over. Don't step on a crack or you'll fall and break your back, kind of mythology stuff.
Yeah.
It's just all over.
All right. So, what would you think? Like going through this, how many stories have you gathered? How many different characters do you think you've collected?
For the book, we focused on 14.
Yes.
But I haven't counted. We've heard many more. I would say at least about 30 different characters.
Oh, wow.
That we've heard.
Yeah. And but
they're like different spirits in different places, like some people would say a specific cutoff, a main road and the street, there's a specific spirit that would appear there, like things like that.
Yes, and some of the mythology too we choose to document. It's like I want to mention this one for sure. There's some that glorify certain killers and stuff too. Ooh. So we stay away from that because I don't really find that like mythology to say. I know that a lot of these myths are scary and they kill and that's like scary stuff, but there's like a thing where it's more cultural and I don't know if you know where I'm heading with this. It's more cultural and spiritual in that sense, opposed to like someone trying to make someone famous because they've done bad things in their life. So, and then there are those kind of mythology too that we stray away from because
it's like you don't want to glorify that.
Right.
Yes, I do see a big problem with that. I mean, even in regular society about that. And that's because we're writing stories about mythology, but we're basically documenting these that we grew up with, and we found that a lot of these stories have moral, I say, attachments or connotations to it. Like, don't go into the jungle because the little man might take you. It might not be a little man; it might be a big man or a kidnapper, or it could be a tiger or an alligator or a snake. So in that sense, we could see the importance of telling these stories to protect kids not to do this or not don't swim in the deep.
I'm seeing a theme as well about treating nature well.
Yes, there's a big theme about respecting nature. And Miss Maria explained it very well. She's the Mayan priestess, and she said nature is the home of these spirits. So whenever you go to someone's home, you must respect them and their home, and you must think of that way when you go to nature.
That's good, and especially your culture, like you said, you're in the jungle, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things out there that could hurt you.
Yes.
And
even the mosquitoes.
and good stuff too. And good stuff. I gotta throw that in because there's a lot of unknown medications and stuff that's natural that that they could get from all these plants there. One of the people we interviewed too, she actually does herbal medicines and treatments and stuff like that.
Oh wow!
wasn't accepted before, and then she had to go to Belize to study it too, and she studied under Mayan
priest, which is the grandfather of the Mayan priestess we saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she says she's has a lot of encounters there in Belize with the duende herself. So she's a firm believer that there are things out there.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that really fascinates us about it too, that when we start talking about it and asking people, they're they're credible people that are telling us these stories. So, one thing is you could pass it off when it's like the dude in the corner just having a drink telling you, I saw something. Then you're like, okay. But when these are credible people, I mean, doctors and BDF soldiers telling you, and just people off the street, when they come in, there was a time when we were in Belize, we were working at the store, and it was right on the border, so people from the southern part of Mexico would come into the store and buy stuff there, and we're curious, so we'd ask them questions if they've heard of the duende, and actually some people would gladly come and start telling us stories about it too, and so that was the good thing is that, it's
a good conversation opener.
Yeah, and a lot of people know more than you think.
Yes. Or it was funny how some people be, no, they don't know nothing. And then we said, you don't know anything about, little men that live in the jungle. And some people say, they can take away your kids. Oh, yeah. We have a whole bunch of stories of that. And they start telling you stories. So it's a good way to interact with other people, too.
Because they've all seen the little creatures that steal kids.
Yeah. And then there's the ones that don't want to talk. They stay quiet, they look at you, and they don't want to get into that.
Now, what's another legend? Can you share another legend with us?
Okay. There's another popular one called the Ishtabai. That one is known to be a female shapeshifter, like a siren. Mm-hmm. And they say that she has, she's very beautiful, and she'll appear to you like a beautiful woman or somebody you know.
Uh-huh.
It could even appear as your wife, to say, So if you're in Belize in the jungle somewhere, at a bar or something, and then you step out, then you see your wife waving at you, they'll tell you, hey, you know what? Check her feet. If you don't fall for her trance, check her feet, because she's a shapeshifter. They say that she has and a
nature spirit. She has this one defect where her feet don't transform to human feet. They stay as animal feet. And people say it's one hoof and one
chicken.
Yeah.
One talon, chicken talon.
Oh.
look at her foot, you see that'll like wake you up and break you out of the spell,
Right.
so she doesn't seduce you and take, because she's looking to take spirit. And apparently is that because she's the version we documented is the Belizean version that we grew up with, where she's an evil spirit that seduces you and takes your spirit to the devil. I guess that's what these spirits do. They take your soul because it makes them stronger or something to that effect, right?
So a beautiful woman, you see a beautiful woman, which obviously in my case is my wife.
In my case,
And
my
then
wife.
but you look down and there's a hoof and a chicken foot.
You run.
Woo!
The
You
other
run
way.
away.
Yes.
And what's funny is when we go to Belize, every time I walk away, Dismas takes my feet. He's like, just take him.
You gotta next
It's a good-
time bring like a chicken costume foot, and and when you walk away, just stick it on real quick. Just see, just to see.
Have to have cameras ready for that one.
Yeah.
That's
Isn't
fun.
it?
And she's just out to kill you.
Yes.
Take your soul to hell.
Yeah. And actually, GrissyG has a story about that with one of our
Yes.
uncles.
Okay.
I'll be honest, this story was told to us as kids because my grandfather was the one who shared the experience, and he said basically he went with his cousins out one night, drink, and they went to a bar, and while they were there drinking, this beautiful girl came in, and their cousin caught her eye, and she supposedly called him over, and my grandpa said they did a spin on the dance floor, and she walked out, and he followed her. So they all thought, oh my goodness, their cousin got lucky. And he said after, it was morning time now, they realized, hey, their cousin never did came back. And he said in those days, there was just one way you would pretty much go. So they went down that road, and they're calling, and they hear a moan. And at first they're like, oh, that sounds weird. And as they get closer, it's like, oh my goodness, that sounds like him. That sounds like their cousin. So they find their cousin up in a tree crying, and he's like traumatized, and he has these, they say, like whip marks on his back. And he's crying that the Ishtabai took him. And at first they said like they couldn't get him off the tree, but they got him off finally. And when they got him home, they had to take turns to stay with him and take care of him because he was freaking out that she would come back for him. And they said he was a hardcore drinker, and after that he stopped drinking.
Oh, well, wouldn't anybody?
They saved him, but there's many stories supposedly that they didn't find the person. So.
And this is going to be my next question with that. Let's say, like with your was it your uncle or cousin? Yeah. With
I think it would be a great grandpa cousin.
I'm from West Virginia. We have those.
Yeah, it's all family, right? Just uncles.
Now with him, like he was able to survive. Is there like some lore on whether or not, she comes back later and attacks again, like she doesn't like to lose kind of thing, or what?
The last time we spoke to my grandpa, I asked him that, and he said that they were very wary about asking the cousin because he would still freak out.
Yeah, he would start to trip out, have like PTSD about it or something.
Yes, and he did say that apparently that he did, when he started drinking again one time, he saw it by the side of the road or something and stopped. So I don't know, but we've heard, and we were never told which uncle it was or cousin exactly it was.
Yeah.
It was kept really like one of them, and we were told never to ask about it if we ever found out which uncle it was, never asked because it was not good for them.
Family secrets.
Yeah.
Ooh.
it was like everybody knew because every time we went over, he would tell the story. And they would tell us this spirit lives specifically in a ceiba tree, which is an ancient tree they believe from the Mayan time was like a, what you call it? It was like a gateway to the underworld and above. It's like because they believe like, how do you say it? It's
like a passageway to
Yeah.
Shibal.
Kind of like a portal?
yes,
a portal.
kind of like a portal. Right, kind of like that. So there are specific trees in Belize that are big, and they're these ceiba trees, and people claim that.
They believe that that harbors the spirit
Right.
of the Ishtabai.
And they will say that she transforms into a green snake, and she usually transforms into a green snake when she's about to whip her victims and take their soul.
I'm looking up now. I had to look up what these trees look like, and they look huge.
Yes,
They are.
They are very big trees.
That's a big tree.
Man,
They're very ancient. They can look very ancient.
And they like the creature lives like up at the top of it, or
Yes.
you know, I think I would imagine they live inside, they would unlock the door and open it, go inside and close. No, I mean inside, you have to know, phase inside. That's how I would imagine it.
like a Keebler elf.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, kind of that idea.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think in snake form, they would live on top because they would have a good view of their victims, and they could, I'm making a joke, but as logical as these creatures could be, that's basically, as artists, that's what we do when we're documenting it. We're thinking, we're asking people questions, and the ears and the eyes, and to get a police detective kind of concept sketch of what they appear to be.
Yeah. And then we also try to think, if these creatures really did exist, how would they function? What would be the goal?
Yeah. In our sketchbook, we actually would draw the bones of the creatures before we interpret it out into painting. So we'd study the anatomy and
how they would be moving, or how they would really look in a pose.
Especially for animation. And we've been working on an animation about the Tata Duende for several years. It's three of us. Now my daughter is in it, so three of us now. And that, to continue the series of that is where we study even the movements of what something like that would move if they had backward speed, to get it as I say accurate as as it could be, I guess.
Now, how long in total do you think that you've been on this mission?
I think it's
we started in 2003, so next year will be 20 years.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
A lifetime.
So we're at the point where we realize that the series is going to be a lifetime series because it just keeps growing, and
it just gets more and more fascinating. Like we said, at first you don't really believe in these creatures because you're a kid. They're kind of oh, you're just pulling my leg. Then you kind of don't believe in it, and then now it's so fascinating that I want to learn more. We can't stop. It's just amazing. And that too, that so many people have so many stories of different beings, of these creatures.
Right.
And I would say, the Tata Duende itself, I would say it's an amalgamation of the different cultural duendes from Belize. There's the Garifunas that came from Africa, and they have their version of the duende called the Tokolosh or Tokoloshi.
Uh-huh.
And then there's other ones from Europe too, and Belize has Europeans too. So they have the elf or the red hats, the dwarf with the red hats that are, so the Tata Duende, it's not to say it's a Mayan mythology. It dates back pre-Mayan from what we're learning. And because there's people that will try to claim the myth and, oh no, it's my myth. It's from my culture only. When we say Belizean Tata Duende, we mean it the whole interpretation of all the different Belizean myths that we're growing up with at this time, or when we grew up to this time, where it's like a mixture of
The different.
yes, from Mayan to Creole to even Indian, West Indian. Like for example, the Ishtabai is a version of that from India that's called the Shurel,
Ooh.
and some people claim that also has backwards feet too. And so there's a lot of similarities with these myths from all across the cultures,
So do you think that culture kind of spread, or do you think that these creatures have all been around and we just have different names for them?
Yes, and the second one, I believe, or from what we're seeing, is that, we found that even in all the way down to ancient Viking culture, there's a version of little people.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, in Belize we own these little people and they're only, we call them Tata Duende. There's, they call them, there's like different words for them in Belize. There's there's Duhende. Some people say it's the Duhende. So there's different versions or words to describe it, but we see it like it's something that out there.
It makes me think. It makes me think. Last week I had somebody on from Ireland, and it makes me think of Ireland because there's such a cultural importance that surrounds these like little creatures. It's almost very similar to the creatures that you're seeing with different names, obviously. But but why do you think, and this is a question because, Ireland is a hot spot for things like that, but there's different locations in the world, Belize being one. What makes that such a hot spot? Why do you see these things there and not, let's say, in the U.S.?
It's because they have special goggles. No, I really did. No, I believe that because there's a lot of nature.
Yeah, they're nature spirits.
Yeah, and a lot of it is like unexplored. So I would believe that these creatures don't like to be messed with, and they're hidden there for a reason. So, and then I would think like in Ireland too, there's a lot of like, how do you say, nature territory out there,
Right.
So.
And actually, the leprechaun is very similar to the Tata Duende. The stories they tell and.
Yeah, where they would lead you to fortune, because sometimes the duende will do that too. You know what, too? Out here, I've heard stories from the Native Americans where they have like little duendes. I think they call them pugwudgies.
Yep, pugwudgies.
That live in the forest. So I think it's just more like
I think they like more natural areas because some places they're in caves, some trees, some by the water, I know. So I do believe they're just nature spirits, and where nature is more abundant and natural to grow, they will inhabit that.
So especially in a place like a jungle, there's not only nature abundantly, but it's also what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe untrespassed?
Yeah, unexplored.
Right. Unexplored. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yes. Wild, allowed to grow freely. And there's a lot of wild areas like that. So.
Now, you guys, you're not just authors of a really cool book, right? You're also animators.
Yes.
You want to talk about your animation? Because you guys just won an award not too long ago.
Yes. We produce short animations of our own, and we also work with clients to do short films. And we have this. I won't say a client. She's our friend and client, yes, but friend. And we met her while we were showing one of our short animations at Hollywood Short. We enter our animations in short film festivals, and that's one way where we meet people and get clients. And we met Dawn Westlake, I'll mention her name, and she's been making award-winning short films, live-action films, and she contacted us to produce the animated part of her film, where it's a live dance film, and it's been touring worldwide, and it's won several awards, and we won an animation award. So we're award-winning animators.
Not to brag or anything, but
Yeah.
We earned it. We earned it.
Yeah.
It's intense work.
Yeah. It's a feather in the cap. I accept it proudly.
have you ever
And,
thought?
shout out to Dawn Westlake for for the opportunity. We love working with her. She's a very, very cool producer and friend. So, and yeah.
Have you ever thought of making maybe a cartoon series around the Legends of Belize?
Well, currently we have been working on a short animation about the Tata Duende. And yes, the walls have ears. So, we try not to discuss too much of our plans because, somebody will jump out and pretend they're the first one who did it.
Oh, yeah,
Like
I gotcha.
Yeah. But, we've dedicated our lives to promoting the Legends of Belize, our culture, and the series. And we have been working on an animation and other stuff. But, once you follow us on our social media sites, we'll keep you updated with stuff when they come out.
That's exciting.
We have our own short series. We have a series called On Her, and it's basically an animation just to make you laugh. No messages, no nothing like that, just to make you laugh. Because sometimes you just need to laugh.
Yeah.
And that's on YouTube. We have a few episodes on YouTube, and that's also aired in some film festivals and also on TV in somewhere in Las Vegas. It's aired on TV. Okay.
Now, where can folks find you? Like, what's your YouTube channel? How do they search for you?
legendsofbelize.com, and all the links are there.
Okay.
Yes.
And that'll link up to your animation stuff as well?
Yes.
All right. And how do folks get up with you if they want to? Let's say they want to learn more about Belize, or, they want to get involved with your animation.
GrisDismation@gmail, or they could just follow us on our social sites, Legends of Belize on Facebook, or GrisDismation on Facebook, and Instagram as well, GrisDismation on Instagram.
Very cool. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on. We are out of time for this episode, but I really do appreciate you guys. I appreciate your sponsorship of the show. I applaud you for that. I love y'all.
You're very much welcome. Enjoy your show.
Enjoy your show. Do a good job. Keep it up.
Thank you. And we'll have you back on. Like I said, I love the stories of Belize. I have your book. I actually man, it was a couple months ago. I was talking with my wife about you, and found the book out when we moved here. We stuck all my books in a big tote, and we were going through it. And I was like, look, here it is. So
Nice. Perfect timing.
So it was, and then I had you scheduled on already, and I was like, look, yeah, you got to read this. So
It's great.
People would say that's Tata Duende working there.
We are out of time. Thank you so much, and we are going to talk again.
You're very much welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a great night.
You too.
You too. Good night.
And with that, the fire is out. Thank you again, Dismas and GrissyG. Thank every single one of you. I appreciate you all giving me a little piece of your time each week. If you are online on social media, I would like to meet you, so make sure you join Fireside Paranormal Hub on Facebook. Link up with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Fireside Parapod, Parapod. Go to our website, firesideparanormal.com, and get your sweet, sweet, sweet Fireside merch. And check out that Patreon, patreon.com/Fireside Paranormal. That is all the time we have for this week. So until next week, everybody, don't be afraid, only believe.